Morning, Top Gun here, 20 to 5 a.m., Wednesday, January 13th. The world according to Top Gun, psychotherapy. All right, if you watched my earlier, The World According to Top Gun, Depression and Suicide, you know that I've had my personal struggles. And as a result, I've had a lot of therapy. And what I've come to realize is that just because someone's a therapist, and even if they have an MD from a highly reputable school like Stanford, it doesn't mean that they're actually a good therapist. I've had some good therapists and some bad therapists, mainly bad therapists. I had a therapist who, in the first session, called me a professional bullshit artist. When I was literally coming in there, just pouring out my heart, telling him, what was going on with my life, and just searching for answers. And that was one of the first things he said to me within 15 minutes in the session. It was just like, whoa, bro, I know you're trying to be provocative and, shake things up or whatever he was trying to do. It was just not the right timing. I also, this psychiatrist also would continually bring up politics. We disagreed on politics, and I wasn't there to talk about politics. He was always the one to bring it up, and I was always trying to change the subject. So he had his own personal problems. Psychiatrists, psychologists, they're just people. And so you got to realize in our society, with the loss of faith in religion and the rise of nihilism, which Nietzsche predicted, we've looked for replacement substitutes. And psychotherapy has come to serve, psychotherapy and psychologists and psychiatrists have come to serve the function of the sort of shamans of our society, the guys with the knowledge of, how our minds work and how we should live our lives. But that couldn't be further from the truth. A great book on this is The Triumph of the Therapeutic by Philip Reith. I had two other psychiatrists that were dogmatists. One was a psychoanalyst, and I remember I was seeing him in college for about 4 years, and I was laying on the couch because he was a Freudian. And one day he says to me, it's so obvious, you're crippling your dick. I'm like, I'm crippling my dick? Wow, crippling my dick. And my point is, he had to interpret everything in the light of Freudian theory, which explains everything through infantile sexuality or sexuality in general. So he was a dogmatist. Now, a couple years ago, I saw a cognitive behavioral therapist. So for him, if you think clearly, then you're going to feel clearly and you're going to live clearly. So everything comes down to how you think. And he was convinced that if you change the way you think, you're going to change the way you life. You're going to change your life. And, thinking clearly is important, but there's a lot of other aspects, relationships, physical health, and all sorts of other things that are going to affect your psychological well-being and how well your life goes. And so he was another dogmatist. He was sure he had all the answers. He was trying to pigeonhole me into a category, and it didn't work. So what does work in psychotherapy? So you're not going to get an omniscient psychotherapist that knows everything, can look into your soul and read you and tell you what you need to do, and that's what's called a guru. And there are no gurus in this world. You got to figure things out yourself. But what you can get is somebody that's gonna care about you, that's gonna listen to you, and that's gonna be there for you. And I found one of those guys now, and it's not a panacea, but it helps.